Now, Deputy Louise O'Reilly.
Thanks very much. My question is a very simple one. It's to ask for the Minister for the number of persons convicted for importing and/or selling illegal steroids and illegal performance-enhancing drugs in each of the years 2014 to 2017 and to date for 2018. This is an issue that it goes on behind the scenes and under the radar, but I think it is one which we as an Oireachtas should maybe have a bit more of a focus on.
Thank you very much, Deputy Minister. 2 minutes.
As the Deputy will be aware, under the provisions of the Court Service Act 1998, management of the courts is the responsibility of the Court Service, which is independent in the exercise of its functions, including the provision of information on the court system. But in order to be of assistance to the Deputy, I have had inquiries made, and the Court Service has advised that the court statistics are not compiled in such a way as to provide the information sought by the Deputy regarding the number of persons convicted for importing and/or selling illegal steroids or illegal performance-enhancing drugs. I have requested the Court Service to examine the requirements, including system development and resource issues, needed to enable the compiling of such statistics going forward. However, the Deputy would also be aware that the Health Products Regulatory Authority, which comes under the remit of the Minister for Health, is the competent authority for the implementation of EU and national legislation relating to medicines in Ireland. One of the HPRA's roles is to investigate potential breaches of legislation where necessary to take corrective action, including legal proceedings. My officials have been informed by the Department of Health that the HPRA initiated 10 prosecutions in relation to the unauthorised supply of anabolic steroid-containing medicines between 14 and 17. Of these, 7 have resulted in a plea of guilty and/or conviction, 2 in 2017, 5 this year. The remaining 3 are pending court hearings. These prosecutions have included the offences of manufacturing, advertising and supply without prescription to individuals or for wholesale supply. If any person is offering, facilitating the supply of or supplying anabolic steroid-containing medicines and in breach of the legislation, they risk an investigation at the hands of the HPRA, may face enforcement actions up to and including prosecution.
Come back. Deputy O'Reilly, 1 minute.
Anabolic steroids which are used to increase muscle mass made up nearly half of the seized medicines last year, and what we are attempting to do is via all of the government departments to get a clear picture, because as the Minister has pointed out, it doesn't rest within only one department. So the HPRA seized 450,000 doses of anabolic steroids in 2017 by comparison to just 109,000 in 2016. So that to me would indicate that there is an increase and that this issue is on the increase. And I'm not sure if you are aware, Minister, of a condition known as muscle dysmorphia. It's where a person becomes obsessively focused on being not muscular enough. It affects men more commonly than women, and it is an issue that I think we should be able to tackle, because we're all having conversations about how men behave and how they, but we also have to look at how men view themselves and what can be done. So our interest in this is to see if there is an increase and to try and ascertain why that might be.
Yeah, I accept that. I accept the point that Deputy O'Reilly makes that while this is primarily an issue for the Department of Health and its agencies, that there is a justice remit here, and I would be happy to engage further as needs be. My officials have been informed by the Department of Health that in 2017 the HPRA, working in conjunction with Garda Síochána and indeed with the Revenue's Customs Service, detained almost 500,000 anabolic steroid dosage units, whether it's capsules or tablets, compared to a little over 100,000 in 2016. And I think this really reflects the impact of intelligence-led enforcement activity by the HPRA, acting in conjunction with other state agencies across a range of departments, and I would be keen to ensure that both my department and Garda Síochána continue to ensure that we can play our part in terms of the enforcement of such actions.
Thank you. Final comment, Deputy O'Reilly.
In response to myself from the HSE, they advised that the number of emergency inpatient discharges relating to steroid use was 174 in 2011, and last year it had risen to 398. Areas of this problem obviously do need to be dealt with from a health perspective, but tackling the importation and the sale of these illegal substances is a justice matter, and I do believe that more needs to be done to stop these drugs being sold in gyms, in sports clubs right across the state. This is it's an issue that, if we fail to tackle it now, while we recognise that there is an increase, if we fail to tackle it now, it will go further underground. So I fully appreciate the Minister's response. I accept that this is in part a matter for the Department of Health, but there are areas of this problem that do need to be dealt with from the perspective of justice, and that's to tackle the importation and the sale of these illegal substances.
Thank you very much, Deputy. Final comment, Minister.
Well, I just want to say that, in line with the Garda Síochána strategy statement of 16 to 18, supported by the Garda Síochána modernisation and renewal programme for the period 16-21, and Garda Síochána continues to play a very important and proactive role in confronting drug-related crime, utilising intelligence-led operations. I want to acknowledge the importance of the Garda Síochána's National Drugs and Organised Crime Bureau, established in 2015, leading the policing strategy for tackling drugs by demand reduction and supply reduction strategies, working in conjunction with divisional drug units right across the country. And of course, this work from a criminal justice perspective fits neatly into the actions on the part of my colleague, Minister for Health Simon Harris, on the Department of Health strategy, reducing harm, supporting recovery, and the new public information campaign to raise awareness among people of the potentially serious side effects and indeed the risk to health of using unprescribed anabolic steroids. This was announced just a few weeks ago, and between the HPRA and Minister Harris's public information campaign on the one hand, and the deterrent factor and the criminal justice approach of Garda Síochána, I wish to assure the Deputy that we will continue to prioritise issues in this important